Good morning, boys. So we're looking at exercise 3.5, title being the midpoint of a line segment. This is on page 91 of your textbooks. Imagine we've got 2 points, A and B. We can call this first point here x1, y1. We can call this other point up here x2, y2. And what we want to find is the middle of these 2 points. And we're going to call this point P. And it's some value x, y. So if we take a look how far along the x-axis we've gone, well, if you look here halfway between those, that's the point that we kind of want to look at for that x value. So it's halfway between those two values. And for the y value, we look at these 2 points here. And again, it's going to be halfway between these two here. So this is probably one of the more easier ideas that we've come up with. Given points x1, y1, x2, y2, the midpoint is equal to, the first point is going to be x1 plus x2, but the average of those, so the middle of those 2 points. And the y value is going to be y1 plus y2, and again, average those ones out. That's what you need to work with. What this does is it splits this line equally into 2 parts, which we can use for a whole bunch of different reasons. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the next worked example. So worked example 15. It asks us to find the coordinates of the midpoint. So what are the coordinates of the midpoint of a line segment? So we've been given the line segment points -2, 5 and 7, 1. So just to help me out so I don't forget, I'm going to call this x1 and this one y1. And I'm going to call this x2, y2. Not as important in this case as dealing with when we're subtracting values like in gradient and what we were doing yesterday with the actual distance between the 2 points. But still nice to make sure it's in the same order, and we go ahead with that. We're going to use this same midpoint strategy formula. So, midpoint is, for x, well, it's -2 plus 7 divided by 2. And our y value is going to be 5 plus 1 over 2. So x minus, -2 plus 7, that's going to give us 5 over 2 for our first point. And our other point over here for y, we are going to get 6 over 2, and we're just going to simplify that. Our first point is 2.5, our second point is 3. We've now found the midpoint of those 2 given points. So worked example 16. In this case, we've actually been given the midpoint, and we've been told that the midpoint for the line segment is 7, 2. We're told that one of the coordinates for the line segment AB, so the point A, is 1, -4. And we're asked to therefore find what is at the other end of that line segment. What is this point B? So I'm going to just allocate B as x and y. From our formula, this is actually going to be, we could call this x1 and y1, or we could call x2 and y2. It's not really a problem there. So let's just put down, this is x1 and this is y1. So we're going to use this idea to help solve these values. We're going to have to do one at a time because we're going to solve for x and then we're going to solve for y to work this one out. So our first one, we've got x1 plus x2 over 2. Okay, and this is our midpoint x value. So just to clarify for you, over here, this is what would be our x value. This would be what would be our y value. We've already called this x1 and y1. So this is going to be x2 and this is going to be y2 to help you substitute those numbers in. So we've already got x is 7. 7 is equal to x1, which we're just calling x. And we're adding to that x2, and we're going to divide that by 2. Now, as we're solving here for x, remember my notes, I'm going to multiply this side by 2, I'm going to multiply this side by 2. So 14 is equal to x1 plus 1. So therefore, once I substitute, subtract 1 from both sides, this value of x we've worked out to be 13. We're going to do the same for the y value. So the y value is equal to y1 plus y2, and we've got to halve that. Okay, we've been given y over here, so 2 is equal to y1, we're just calling y1. We're adding to that this negative 4, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So to undo that divide by 2, here I go, I'm multiplying by 2 over here, I'm multiplying by 2 over here. So I'm going to have 4 is equal to y1 take away 4. I have to add 4 to both sides. And I get y equals 8. So to answer the actual question, the point B is actually the point 13, 8. Good luck.